Today I'd like to talk to you about how to get your horse to go. Horses don't understand in the very beginning that you want them to go. And I know this after years of starting young horses under saddle. When I get a very green horse, it has no idea. Nobody told it when the rider kicks you in the belly, you need to go forward, okay? In fact, if you get on a young horse and kick it in the belly, you're likely to do a compulsory dismount and be told to get off. Go starts in the round yard when I'm starting a young horse, just my body pressure sending him forward. So you may need to use a whip to ask the horse to go forward with my pressure. And I use a voice aid in the beginning, which is a click, which is what I send my horses forward for. I use two different ones. I use the kissing aid for canter when I'm training my horses, so that the green horse understands the difference between trot and canter. So I click for trot and kiss for canter. So once you have them going from a click, you've got to get on their back and ride them. Now trust me, no horse understands that when you get on and put legs on, he needs to go forward. So you have to find a way to explain to him how to go forward. And there's three things that I usually use depending on the horse and what works for them. Some horses I actually have to get somebody to come and help me and actually walk off in front of the horse. Because when you're working with the horse in the round yard, you're on the ground with them. As soon as you get on their back, they've lost the person that was showing them what to do. So I've had a few horses that I've actually had to get someone else to help me to walk off, so the horse understood to walk off. Obviously I use my voice as well, which is a click. And then in the very, very beginning, the first rides, when I can get the horse to go, I actually do this with my legs. So it's just a bump, it's very light. I'm very careful because I don't like compulsory dismounts, it hurts. So yeah, I would do this to get the horse to associate my moving of my legs to say go forward. Eventually the aim is to make our aids so invisible that the bystander doesn't see them, and it looks like the horse is working on his own. As soon as I get on the horse, I use my seat though. Like I do on a young green horse, I won't use it heavily because I'm likely to get told to get off as well, because horses are quite sensitive. But my hips and pelvis follow my horse as he walks, which helps him to keep going. So there's get somebody to help me to get the horse moving. Then when I break them in, I don't have them on here, but I have split reins. So they're actually very long reins and they're split. They don't join together. And I can use them to gently encourage my horse to move from behind, because obviously in the round yard, I've used perhaps a lunge whip to get him to move from the back end. So the reins will help me get him moving. And the other thing I use in the early days is just a short jumping crop. Just tap, tap, tap on the shoulder, usually to make a bit of noise rather than to do anything else with. So that helps get the horse to go. So on going forward, it's actually the horse's job to go at the speed you set him at until you tell him otherwise. And I like to think of it was Kyra Kirkland that wrote this in her book, and it's an awesome analogy. It's like a skateboard. You get on a skateboard and you get it going, and then you sit there and you skate. And as it starts to slow down, you might just give one more little push to get it up to speed again. And that's what it should be like on your horse with go. He should go, and perhaps you just need to remind him, I don't know, every horse is a little different. Rebel I have to remind a bit. Every half a 20-metre circle or every 30 metres on the long side, I just remind him to keep going. He needs to stay at the speed and the tempo that I put him until I tell him otherwise. So don't just go kick, 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 kick at your horse, because if you think about how you train a horse, the release of the pressure teaches him. If you're just kicking him, it's just white noise to him. It doesn't mean anything, okay? It does not mean anything. So when you come to having, and you're going to see this in a minute, because Rebel really is essentially, he'd rather be in the paddock sleeping. when I ask him to go and he doesn't go, I move my aids from a very light aid, I always start with a light aid, up the scale. And pretty quickly I will go up and then tap him with the whip. I don't ever leave the horse on the correction. If you learn nothing else today, I'd like you to remember that you need to leave the horse on a good transition. So if I've asked him to move off and he doesn't go anywhere and I give him a correction, then I need to go back and do the same transition again so that he does the transition from a light aid, not a correction. I hope that makes sense. So in the beginning, if your horse won't go and you correct him, and sometimes I've actually had to give my horse a bit of a smack with the whip behind here to tell him to go forward, you need to, if he takes off, you need to praise him. It's not his fault that he gave more energy than you actually wanted. He went forward. Okay, so you need to praise him. That's one thing. And the second thing is you have to be balanced enough in the saddle not to hit him in the mouth. Because if you send him forward and then he gets hit in the mouth as he goes, he's never going to want to go forward. Okay, so when I'm correcting a horse that won't go at all, I mean, Rebel's really mild, but I have had them that just will not go. I will actually shorten my reins, have my hands right up forward and give them a smack to send them forward. And be prepared, if they take off at a bolt, you can't tell them off and don't stop them. You may bend them down. I don't mean let the horse bolt off on you, but what I do mean is if he takes off, then just don't pull him up and tell him off. I've seen people do that and I'm like, he just did what you asked him. Why would you do that? So let's just see. Now Rebel doesn't like to go, so I don't usually use circles in the beginning when I'm warming him up. Once I've got him going, he's all right, but I'll use long straight lines. And I wouldn't ask him to go now because I'm coming into a corner which is backing him off. I'll ask him to go a little bit on the long side here so that he's got some open space in front of him to go. So I'm warning him here that we're going to go, and now I'm going to go bump bump with my legs and trot. He's going to make a liar out of me, but anyway. No, see there, he's just slowing down a little, feeling a little lazy. He hasn't warmed up, so I'm not going to be mean to him. So what you want to do is you don't want to be continuously kicking your horse. And I added a little click there. Because what you want to do, come on. Okay, you can see him not going forward there. So he got a little tap with the whip. And now I'll check my legs again. Yes, he's forward from them. Good boy. Good boy. So we need to eventually save our legs for lateral work and bend. So you don't want to be always kicking your horse with them, or they're going to have no meaning to him. So remember, if he won't go, long straight lines. If he won't stop, circles. Don't forget, check the description for my 3 basic principles that you need to help you train your horse. It's free and it will explain these principles a little more in depth. See, he likes to stop. Good boy. So the ultimate aim is to get your horse to go and stop from your seat, because that allows us to use our legs for lateral work and just ask him to step off my leg. And it also allows us to bend the horse. If we can stop them from the seat, it allows us to use our reins for flexion, direction, depth of neck, length of stride, and a whole pile of other things we do with our reins. So really, basic go and stop from the seat. Well, that's where you're aiming to get, from the seat, so you've got all these other things that you can do with your reins and legs. I hope that helps you understand some of this. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, because we'd love to send you our video every Friday when we put it up. See you later.